Today I am going to be tackling the giant Sharpie challenge. Hello and welcome to the Sharpie art challenge, where I am unfortunately not going to be using this big bad boy, but gosh darn do I not wish I was. This is just a pool toy. It's a schnoodle. It's a Sharpie noodle. Anyway, so the challenge is the Sharpie art challenge, where I only use Sharpies to create art, so let's just get into it. As someone who never uses Sharpies, I was so surprised when I went to the craft store and found this 24-pack of Sharpies. Look at all of these colors. I'm actually pretty dang excited to swatch all of these because I love swatching art supplies and just seeing what the color is going to be. Plus, it's just satisfying. Also, back in my day, we only had black, red, and blue Sharpies, so I'm just a little excited to try all of these colors. I also picked up this metallic pack of Sharpies just in case I wanted to use them. I don't normally use metallic markers in my drawings, but I like to have them just in case. And of course, I got something for lining, so I have this Sharpie Precision, so that'll be good for doing my line work. All right, I'm very excited to swatch these, so let's get into it. So you know I'm definitely going to be liking those earthy tones more than these like really bright ones. I definitely like a lot of these blues and greens, especially the light blue, the tealy color. I kind of like the lime green and especially the sea foamy green. I also really like these three colors here. I think I do have Posca pins that are similar to those. And I have to say, I'm actually pretty impressed with the metallic colors. They're kind of cool looking, and I think they would be really neat to use on like normal artwork. Okay, I love me some swatching, but I think it's time to start sketching out some ideas and see what I can come up with. But before I got working with these Sharpies, I did want to do a sort of color sketching, swatching sort of style, because they did remind me of my Posca pins, which I feel like my style really changed with those. After I got sort of a feel of what I wanted to do, to be honest, I really wasn't sure still, and I was sort of hesitant to start, but I just got into it. I just jumped in. No amount of staring at this blank piece of paper was going to get me to feel more confident with what I wanted to do with this Sharpie challenge. I think the main concern with the Sharpie challenge was that because there were so many bright colors, I did feel a lot of pressure, like my Posca pins, to use those bright colors, to be more colorful. And although in the end, I will admit I did not do that, I did want to. With Posca pins though, for some reason, I do feel a lot more inspired to use the brighter and bold colors. I don't know what it is about the Sharpies, but I wasn't feeling that inspired to use those bright colors. I don't know why, but I just wasn't feeling inspired. Maybe it's because I just have that stigma towards Sharpies. Sharpies just seem like an office supply to me. I'm still not sold on Sharpies being art supplies. Pretty sure they're not archival. Pretty sure the blacks turn brown over time. And I'm just not into it. Is this video just going to be me pooping on Sharpies? Probably, but I'll try not to do it too much. And I also wasn't sure if I wanted to do a lineless style similar to how I did with my Posca pins. Something about Posca pins just makes me want to go lineless. I don't know what it is. I've always had a lineless style on the side that I do, and Posca pins just make it easier to do that for whatever reason. Maybe because they are just so bold and you can layer them, and I don't know. But with Sharpies, like I said, I was getting a very similar feel from the Posca pins because we had all these bright, bold colors, but I don't think you can layer them quite as well as Posca pins, which is what made me a little hesitant to do so. I did jump into this with the intent of going lineless, but with how much these pins bled into the paper, it made me really want to do just a little bit of line work, because even though that line work wasn't going to hide the bleeding because the line work itself was going to bleed, I just kind of felt like maybe it would give it a little more structure. And overall, I do like the look of the lines that I did use. I ended up using my broken line style. I think it's pretty cute, and I think I am pretty happy with the overall outcome of this Sharpie challenge art. But like I said, I do wish I pushed myself to use brighter colors. I think the main thing was that that deer is so dark. I was a little bummed that there was no tan or light brown color, and I get it, Sharpie. You're not art supplies specifically. I mean, you are in the art section, but I still don't consider you art supplies. I still consider you craft supplies. Anyways, so I should have pushed myself to use that sort of salmony pink color that I really liked, the one on the second row all the way on the left, and then use the color next to it to shade. I think that would have just made it a lot more colorful, a lot more cute. I really need to start pushing myself to use colors that aren't normal, like a deer's brown. I should stop making a deer brown every time. I just gotta. So that's my only one regret, is that I didn't make that deer a lighter, more pinky, bright, colorful, orangey color. I think it just would have made things so much better. Are you enjoying listening to me complain about that? Let's talk about some other things. So with the Sharpies, I was actually really impressed with how little streaking you get. Sure, you do get a little streaking, but compared to the Posca pens, when you filled in a large area, you would get a lot of streaking. With the Sharpies, there was actually quite minimal streaking, and I don't know why I keep comparing Sharpies and Posca pens. Those are two completely different supplies, so I do apologize for that. Like I said, I think it's just those really bright and bold colors that are just making me sort of connect the two together. Trust me, I love Posca pens, and I don't know why I would compare them to Sharpies, but I gotta stop. So I was pretty happy with the minimal streaking you get. It was pretty smooth. I did like that. But the bleeding, I think I would have enjoyed this a lot more if those gosh darn markers didn't bleed so much. Any line you put down just kind of spread out. The paper I'm using is Stongehenge mixed media paper, so I feel like it should be able to handle Sharpies. I don't know anything about art supplies, so obviously I could be very wrong about that. I only know so much about art supplies. I really don't know a lot. So the general idea behind this illustration is that I just kind of wanted to draw a deer. I don't know why, but I thought I would draw a deer on a little patch of grass and just kind of have fun with the details of the grass and the foliage and bring some bushes really close to the viewer so it kind of looked like you were peeking in on this deer. And I also really wanted to stylize this deer. It looks so stupid, but also almost majestic in the way it's standing. I just had a lot of fun with making that deer look so stupid. And of course I had to put some birds around it because the space was looking very empty around it. I did think about going ahead and doing a full background image, but honestly, wasn't feeling it with these Sharpies. I think it was enough of a challenge just drawing some characters and dealing with these bleeding markers. I didn't feel like pushing myself to do a background. I know, I'm such a giver-upper. But I am pretty happy with the result, and it was a little fun playing around with Sharpies because, like I said, it's something that I don't want to use, so it was really interesting to make myself use an art supplies that I just really don't care for. Shout out to all of you that actually use Sharpies for lining. I don't know how you do it, but props to you. You're really making it work. So at this point in the illustration, I was still struggling with if I wanted to make this a lineless or not. As you can see, everything is good to go for a lineless style, but it was just, like I said, so fuzzy that I think that it needed that structure of line work. So I went ahead and put some of my broken line work in, and I do think it pulled it together quite well. At this point, I was feeling so happy with the result of this illustration. I was really surprised at how well the line work really brought everything together. With my Posca pens, I never wanted to use black because I just felt like the colors were so important with them. But with the Sharpies, like I said 100 times, I did try to work with a dark blue and dark purple line work, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I ended up going with my black liners after all. I think it does dull it down a little bit, but Sharpies, you're just not giving me that vibrant feeling. With a few last details, overall I was quite happy with this Sharpie art challenge. Look at it. What do you think? Here's a poll. Did I succeed at this Sharpie art challenge or not? So I did feel a little bad not using brighter colors, so I decided to draw my original character, Hatch, but I decided to replicate this Posca pen illustration I did. And overall, I do like how smooth the Sharpies are, but they do bleed so much, and I'm not really a fan of that. Posca pens do have a little bit more of a streaky look, but they don't bleed, and I gotta say, I do like that. Overall, more control with the Posca pens, less so with the Sharpies. And that is that for the Sharpie art challenge. Thank you guys so much for watching. I think I'm going to stick with my schnoodle. I like him a lot more than Sharpies. All right, bye. And now a huge thank you to all of my wonderful patrons, including Michael Yun, Zach Abstract, Megan, Chris Side, Davey Tomato, Cool Guy Josh, Hey Lucy, Mackenzie, Maureen A, Pie, Drizzle, Cindy J, TJ Dutch, Star, Kylie Perry Buck, Lex CS, Meredith H, Hattie Laird, Stuff by Dell, and Antimeral Scott. If you want a shout out at the end of my videos, sketches, coloring pages, early access, and more, check out my Patreon by clicking the link in the description. Thank you all so much for the support. Bye!